What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. The world has changed and we are seeing multiple changes just happening over the course of the last couple of days. So I want to break down what's currently going on. I want to talk about what we could see moving forward because of all the changes that we're seeing happening. President Biden is gaining more support in multiple polls. His poll numbers are actually starting to jump, which was good news for Democrats, but also this could be good news for the American people. I want to explain why that is. The only bad news is that gas prices rose by about 3% overnight. Yes, 3% in just one night, less than 24 hours, gas prices rose. So I will touch on that in a minute as well. First off, hopefully you guys are having a wonderful start to your Saturday, but let's get right down to this update. So last night, we actually started getting reports from Russia and Ukraine that they had agreed to a ceasefire in Mariupol and it's Volnovaka, I believe, two different cities in Ukraine. Now these cities, many civilians are still there, and the agreement was there would be a ceasefire in order to evacuate the civilians that wanted to leave. Now, this agreement was just to have a temporary ceasefire, just to allow an evacuation. Here's the problem. Something then happened that completely changed the world. Okay? Russia violated the ceasefire agreement and they continued shelling the cities. Why is this so important? Well, for one, it's a loss of life, and then they violated an agreement that the two countries made, but it's because of this that there has been many decisions made to change the plans moving forward. The Ukraine had to halt evacuations, and that's a major thing. Just in the past couple of days, just to give you an idea, the amount of additional people that had to leave Ukraine was more than 400,000 people. The amount of migration is now over 1.45 million people out of Ukraine. Now, here's how this event will completely change the world. Before today, some believe that Russia could be talked down and they could stop invading Ukraine. However, after the events that happened this morning, this is seen as a very unlikely situation, that Russia is going to just be talked down, they'll pull their troops, they'll leave the country. That's not the expectation. So, according to the reports this morning, more action must be taken to condemn Russia for their acts. And here's what this means. The Biden administration is currently under bipartisan pressure from Congress to ban all Russian oil imports. The problem with this, and this is a major problem, is if the U.S. were to ban Russian oil imports, many other countries would follow suit. So, we would see gas prices in Europe rise even faster, and they'd be more severe than ever. Here in the United States, we would see gas prices and food prices increase to insane levels. Inflation is going to go up. And this is exactly what President Biden doesn't want. Just to give you an idea of what we're experiencing, the average gallon of gas on Friday, that was yesterday, was $3.83. I even mentioned it multiple times here on the channel. This morning, I woke up this morning to see what is the average price of gas. Well, it was $3.92 a gallon, average nationally. This is a little less than 3% in a matter of 24 hours. That's insane. And yesterday, multiple lawmakers, including Speaker Nancy Pelosi, stated that they want the U.S. to ban all Russian oil imports. But we also learned this morning that the White House has secretly been pressuring some Senate Democrats to not support the bipartisan legislation that would ban oil and gas imports from Russia. And this is actually being brought on by, I think, Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska and Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia. So it's a bipartisan legislation right there. Now, over the past week, President Biden has reportedly stated that Congress is actually boxing him in and forcing him to make a decision sooner than he actually wants to. And this is creating a lot of concern, is that some are pushing President Biden to make a decision quick. And we all know that that's not the case. That's not what President Biden does. He doesn't make just rash decisions. A lot of times it's somewhat methodical, but it's slow, and that's the issue. Some say we can't be slow, we can't be methodical. We have to just go after Russia as they stand right now. And that means banning all Russian oil imports. But if you watched my video yesterday, you may remember when I said that the worry right now is that one wrong move could send the U.S. economy in a downward spiral. Well, this is one of those moves, if we choose the wrong option. Because it's not just everybody saying that if we ban the Russian oil imports, what's going to happen is gas prices are going to spike. No, not everybody's saying that. We're also hearing from multiple energy analysts and economists that say a ban on Russian oil imports wouldn't create such a high spike in gas prices. Would we see them increase? Yes. The consensus is yes. Gas prices would increase. But it wouldn't be a high spike. It wouldn't double. That's not what we're going to see. But again, gas prices look like they just keep going up. They haven't stopped. Now, the White House yesterday was in talks with officials from oil and gas in the gas industry here in the U.S., and they're trying to see how much of an impact a Russian oil ban would actually have on the American people. So the expectation at this point is that this coming week, we should have an idea of where the Biden administration is headed regarding the Russian oil ban. Well, what they currently say is that it's on the table, but they're considering all options. One thing that they want to know, though, is how much will it impact the American people? Because one thing that the American people can't really handle right now, in addition to the inflation that we're currently seeing, is we can't handle a higher gas price. And just to give you an idea, in 5 days, on March 10th, we're going to have the next CPI data reading. Okay, it's going to come out on March 10th. That's this coming Thursday. So that's going to be a very big day, because if we see inflation spike, just this, or because it's actually for last month, you need to understand that with gas prices going up where they are, with food prices, with rent, everything going up over the past couple of months, inflation could easily be up over 10% in just 2 months. So we'll see. But here's my suggestion to many people. Right now, if you need to go fill up your tank and you have a little bit extra money in the bank account, you should probably go fill up your tank. Okay? If anything, gas prices are going to moderate. They're not going to drop back down. We're not going to see that. Gas prices will do one of two things. They'll either keep going up, or they'll somewhat moderate and stay somewhat level, at least for a short period of time. But the expectation is they're going to keep going up. Nobody predicts gas prices will go down in the near future. So if you can, go fill up your vehicles with some fuel so that it costs you a little bit less, so that you don't have to pay an extra $1 or something in a week from today. Now, with gas prices rising faster than we've seen in more than 15 years, inflation is obviously still pretty high. The American people are worried about what's to come, and there was a recent change. Okay, here's a recent change. President Biden delivered a State of the Union address, and after this, in a recent poll, President Biden saw his approval rating jump to 47%. This is a major improvement, because the same poll that was conducted a month ago was at 39%. So this number is extremely important to keep in mind, because right now, President Biden's numbers are improving, and Democrats say we need to keep that momentum going. So, according to one Senate aide just yesterday, they say improving numbers will lead to Democrats listening to the American people much more. So, the legislation that the American people consider a priority could move back to the table. Okay, so now we're starting to see some changes. When President Biden's polling numbers were low, it was pretty much, okay, well, we're low, but the American people, they're not supporting us. So they just kept doing what they were doing. But now, on the flip side, and I thought this was really weird, but when the polling numbers went up 8% from 39 to 47, that's a major jump. We haven't seen something like that in years. But when that happened, it changed Democrats' attitude, changed their morale. That, okay, we may have a chance at winning some seats in the upcoming midterm elections, but only if we can pass some meaningful legislation. So that's what the consensus is this morning. There's still a lot of stuff being discussed, a lot of stuff being talked about. We're going to see what happens, but just understand things are changing, not just here in the US, but across the world as well. As we get any more information on what we could potentially see regarding a new bill, a new potential stimulus or infrastructure or build back better or building a better America, whatever you want to call the bill, doesn't really matter. But just keep in mind, I will be here every step of the way. Now, one thing I can tell you is that if we see President Biden's numbers improve and Democrats, their numbers start to improve, what we are going to see is them maybe not pushing for the biggest, the most progressive priorities, but we could see them really try to get in line with the Democratic agenda. We could see that come back. And if it does, that could be good news to millions of Americans because the Democratic agenda is to take care of the American people. So we will see what happens, but as always, I will be here every step of the way. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.